Welcome to Conversations with Healers, a podcast and video interview series that features intimate, soulful, and cozy conversations with self-healers and healers. Healer to healer, we dive into all aspects of self-healing and healing, and being and becoming a healer. I am Damla. I am a healer and the host of this podcast, and I can't wait for you to listen to this conversation. If you are new to this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe so that you can be aware of new episodes. I also invite you to visit adropofom.com, adropofom.com, where I share a lot of free resources for self-healing and healing, and you can take a free quiz to find out what your energetic wounds are and how they may show up in your life. Discovering what your wounds are is the first step in healing them. I hope you enjoy this episode. There is one more thing I would like to share with you before you listen to this episode. I created a wonderful container to help you heal your energetic wounds and activate the infinite light and potential of your inner children. It is a crystal energy healing membership called Chakra Bliss Vault. Every month you will receive 3 new crystal healing sessions. Plus, you'll immediately have access to my entire energy healing recording library when you sign up. The membership is really affordable and will continue to be so. You can find out more about it at adropofom.com, adropofom.com. I invite you to make healing your energetic wounds and connecting with your inner children a priority and invest in your well-being by becoming a Chakra Bliss Vault member. Hello everyone, this is Damla Aktekin with A Drop of Om, and I feel so blessed to have Jason Medlock here with me. Hi Jason.
How you doing, Damla? I'm happy to be here.
Yes, and I'm excited to dive into all the different things that you do and that you represent today. You are a quantum healing hypnotist, mindset performance coach, remote viewer, galactic energy healer, and the author of Empowered by Consciousness. And my first question to you is, I want to find out what led you to here, to doing what you do, and particularly what specifically led you to explore healing and consciousness and all of the above. So give us an idea of.
Well, what led me here was just being a young boy, just, hanging out in church with my mom and just trying to figure out, is there anything else? Because I was standing up, I was sitting down, I was praying, the money trays were coming back and forth, and I dumped my quarter or my nickel in the money tray. And I was, 9 years old, and I'm praying every day. I'm like, where is he at? And I knew God was just around us, but I was so young that I wanted to know more, and just didn't get it enough to really understand. But I always felt like there was something else. And my sister, once I got in college, she introduced me to the affirmations of faith. And I was using these affirmations daily to help myself being a much better student in school. I was a scholarship athlete of the week several times. And I was setting goals as an athlete as well. And I was achieving them by doing these affirmations every day. And I'm like, oh man, this stuff works. My sister is smart. And as I grew and out of college, she says, listen, I want you to listen to a movie called The Secret. I want you to, watch The Secret. I said, The Secret. Okay. So I watched it, and I'm like, oh man, the law of attraction, metaphysics. Wow. Vision boarding. So she started to do a vision board party every year, annually. And Damla, the pictures on my vision board, those things were happening for me in real life as I was looking at these pictures and saying I was going to get these things and doing all this stuff. I learned the law of attraction. And I'm listening to the narrators of the movie, and they were talking about frequency and vibration, and you can bring anything to you in this consciousness. And it just really started to bring me closer to I need to understand what this is. And years later, COVID-19 hit. And COVID-19 really made millions of people around the globe really, really be still. And I, one of the million people, was still, couldn't go anywhere, was locked in my home. And I started to read and I started to reflect. And the books I was reading, I started to read about consciousness. I started to read about Dolores Cannon's hypnosis, quantum healing hypnosis, and the wonderful books, the very fabulous books that she's written, and Belinda Womack, Lessons from the 12 Archangels, and some of the most beautiful books that you could read. And it's just started to rekindle my fascination with frequency and vibration and how to raise your frequency and how to connect with the higher self. And it just brought me to a plethora of other modalities or spiritual practices that I started to learn. And the more and more I reflected on everything, I'm like, wow, this everything gets centered around consciousness. Obviously our consciousness, our consciousness is not local. Our consciousness is beamed in from a higher source. So all of these practices, these modalities, all centered around your level of consciousness, your level of vibration, your level of frequency. And it was just so fascinating. And that's what got me here today. Squeezing all of the modalities and compacting them, each one. Energy healing. I'm a level 3 galactic energy healer, sort of like Reiki. But in galactic energy healing, we use patterns. We draw patterns and we push them to the client. We go through our, rituals, and I know Reiki, you rub your hands and the energy is in your hands, and you use the pendulum, and we do a lot of the same things. And the healing portion just came to me to heal people's conscience, meaning that the mental illness, the struggles, the limited beliefs, injuries. I was naturally drawn towards healing modalities, and that's why I became a level 2 quantum healing hypnotist. I'm also a certified hypnotist, clinical hypnotist as well. But the quantum healing hypnosis is centered around healing the mind, healing the body, experiencing a different side of yourself. And I've learned the past life regression technique on how to go back and remove blockages, and the joy from that, mixing all these modalities into mindset performance coaching, helping business owners, helping athletes, helping regular people point out where the problem is, helping them self-realize. And I guess just from the beginning, opening up my heart, opening up my emotions, feeling exactly who I am, really brought me closer to helping other people. And that's why I wrote the book. I wrote the book because of that, because of my experiences with all the things that I was working with. And I just wanted to get it down on paper. But yeah, healing, that's what brought me close. And that's how I got here today.
I like that. It sounds like there was a spiritual yearning in you for a deeper connection with yourself and with the universe. And you started to explore it in all sorts of different ways, which I feel like you're a healer of my own heart, because I'm also interested in a whole variety of things. I work with crystal healing, tuning forks, EFT tapping. But overall, I feel like all of those are serving the same purpose. They all serve the same purpose of healing energetic wounds, as you described some of the trauma, and I see them as vibrational healing. What would you say? I know you talk about consciousness, but what would you say is the one thing? I know you do the hypnosis, there's mindset coaching, there's remote viewing. What would you say is the overarching theme in all of those? Like, what are you doing with all of those?
The overarching arching theme of these modalities I work in is the higher self, the level of consciousness you can reach and you can be aware of. I should say the level of consciousness you can be aware of, and the level you can reach with the higher self and the subconscious mind. All of the modalities, and you just said it a minute ago, they're closely matched. They are different angles on how to do the same thing. If you're bringing forth healing, or if you're using remote viewing to locate an unknown object in an unknown dimension, in any time, in any space, or here on this planet, 50,000 miles away, if I had a photo, and I was given coordinates, if I was given a 4-digit number, I could locate it using my subconscious mind. The overarching theme of knowing all these things is to show people how you can live subconsciously, how you can access the subconscious mind, when I say live subconsciously, Damla, I mean how you can actually use the subconscious mind to answer questions for you on a daily basis, and how you can use the subconscious mind to suppress depression, how you can use it to remove anxiety, to give you the strength for weight loss. And we use that technique in just regular clinical hypnosis. We use the subconscious mind as the backdrop when we program, when we use scripts, and when we're doing our talks, we program this into the subconscious mind. And when you have the sessions over and over and over and over, the hard drive, which is the brain, you create new neural pathways in the brain, new avenues of learning. And the subconscious mind is more susceptible to taking the suggestions that we give. Once the patient has agreed with himself or with herself and reflected on herself and has said, I need this, I accept this, this is what I want. And this work starts to happen, and the subconscious mind says, oh, okay, you want to lose weight now. Okay, now we get it. And now we will reprogram you to lose weight, for you to do the things that you need to lose weight. So when you have these sessions with clients, they should know that, well, just because you're having these hypnosis sessions doesn't mean the hypnosis is you're going to just lose weight instantly. It's reprogramming your mind. It's changing your mindset. So when you look at even remote viewing, I use remote viewing to locate objects. I use associate remote viewing to predict future events. Two different types of remote viewing, but I use the subconscious mind to access the information I need to perform those modalities. I'm a transcendental meditator, so I meditate twice a day, and I move myself from the top level of the ocean to the middle of the ocean to the peace and quiet at the bottom, which is transcendence. And I experience that level of peace, but I also am able to experience the higher self, the subconscious mind, God, so to speak. And I'm able to manifest from that position, able to do a lot of different things. I'm able to ask questions and I can get the answer. Well, Jason, it just seems like, how do you get the answer? The audience is probably saying, okay, well, he can say all this, but how is he getting this answer? Here it is. It's not simple, but it's simple. The conscious mind takes over when you're 8 years old, and whatever construct you're living in, this earthly construct, whatever environment you're living in, it adapts and it leads you through this environment. And that's what you learn. That's what you pick up. From 0 to 7 years old, the subconscious mind is leading our life and protecting us. It knows everything about us. It knows all the lives we've ever lived. It knows what we've done, what we will do, and what we've already done. And it guides us and it protects us. So those are two different levels of consciousness, so that when you meditate on a daily basis, when you pray on a daily basis, breath work, whatever technique you're using to relax the mind, to be within yourself, the more and more and more you practice, you can tell the difference between your conscious mind doing and answering questions and being the boss and being sassy and being rude and reacting to the remark your sister made to you, and you reacted in a negative way. The conscious mind is leading that, while the subconscious mind is saying, just walk away. Don't pay that any attention. No, that money on the ground is not yours. Don't get it. 1.3 seconds later, the conscious mind acts, and it gives you direction. Pick that money up and I'm gonna put it in my pocket. When the subconscious mind already said, no, that's not your money. So there is a difference in messages that we get every day, but how do you differentiate? Through mindfulness, Damla, through practicing mindfulness, practicing your awareness. And that's what mindfulness is, being aware of everything around you. The shape of my glasses, the computer screen, just noticing the fine edges. And when you're meditating, noticing the breeze of the air from the air conditioner, notice the sounds far away, notice the sounds that are close. Mindfulness brings you closer to more wisdom, more relaxation. And combining mindfulness practices with meditation or whatever technique you use to calm, you're able to differentiate between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. You can hear, and you're bringing the conscious mind down, and you bring the subconscious mind up, and you balance them off a little bit, and maybe the subconscious mind is a little bit over, so that you can hear the messages that are for you to live your life, to change where you want to be. And so that's how, when you look at all the modalities, one of the main things, that I take from it and I use is just the relationship with the higher self, subconscious mind, God, source. I'm just naming different names, Buddha, for whatever religion, that higher place, that higher leader in your life. That's how you can use it. And that's what I pull from.
That's interesting. I'm understanding exactly what you're saying. The wording confused me a little bit, because for me, subconscious mind, what you're describing, has a whole other meaning. I see it as the underworld, not necessarily the higher self. Although I do believe in knowing the entirety of your height and depth and inner realms. But what I'm understanding and agreeing with you on is you're describing going beyond the initial impulse or the reaction to connecting with some deeper and higher wisdom that is available to you in the subtler realms. And I love how you describe the awareness piece of it, to be aware of yourself, to know that what your action or reaction is coming from is not just an impulse, but it's coming from a deeper wisdom. So I agree with you on that.
And terminology is different in all kind of ways, but there is a higher connection for us. I guess that's what I was trying to say. And this higher connection is how I base all of the training I do, helping people connect to that higher self. The names of them or whatever, their names, people have different names and in different meanings, but the higher self, or the highest version of yourself, or the God that you worship that is in you, can help guide you and help really change your life.
Yes. I'm going to jump to a completely another subject.
Sure.
I am very curious about remote viewing. Can you tell us about that? What it is, how it works, what can it be effective for?
Well, remote viewing is, let's just break it up. Scientific remote viewing is a step-by-step process on how to access information on any target or any object anywhere in the universe, on this earth, in different dimensions. I was taught this technique by Tony Civilale. Remote viewing is out there. I mean, you can YouTube it and all that. I mean, a lot of remote viewers. But I was taught this technique by Tony Civilale, and basically, you are able to you're given a photo, and I can't see the photo, but the instructor, the person who's conducting the session has a photo, and they want you to tell them exactly where what the picture is and information about it. You got to remember the U.S., the CIA, basically, through a lot of different haggling in court, released its findings on remote viewing, and that we had a secret, quote unquote, psychic program, that we were spying on different countries, in particular Russia, and we were spying on their defense systems, and we were able to get remote viewers to look at different plans of different war machines that they had. So Ingo Swann, which is he's passed away, but Ingo Swann was the top psychic in America, and he was one of the pioneers, the initial people in the remote viewing program with the CIA. And Ingo Swann actually remote viewed the moon. I mean, that's all on YouTube and in different documentaries. And when he remote viewed the moon, he found remote viewing is moving your conscience, to a different place, to see things, to get information. And he found on the moon that there were bases on the moon, that there were humanoid-like people, beings on the moon, that there were large craft on the moon. And he was gazing in a window, and the instructor said, move 50 feet from the target. So Ingo moves his consciousness 50 feet from the target, and he's able to look into the window, and then they turn around and look back at him. And Ingo says to the instructor, why didn't you tell me they were psychic? And then he says, they can see you? He says, yes. He says, move out of there quick, move out quick. And he brought his consciousness back to his body on Earth. So that's a good story right there, that the audience can go and look up, the remote viewing of the moon by Ingo Swann. But remote viewing is basically uncovering unknown objects and unknown information, with an instructor showing you how to, telling you exactly what they're looking for, and you have to find the information. So what happens is you're given a 4-digit number, 2311, 2311. That number is already associated with a particular location, a particular photo of something that they need information on, a particular, let's just say a blueprint of a new car that your competitor has. So that 2311, 2311 is already embedded in this particular piece of information, which is in the ether of space. When you embed something with words, and my words move at the speed of light, and it is embedded in the ether of space, also known as Christ consciousness, also known as the quantum realm. So this information is there. So all the remote viewers get this information, these 4-digit numbers, and we're in our session. So we have a pen, and the our session, the guy who's running the session says, okay, you guys ready? We'll say yes. 2311. And the first thing we do, we have our hands free, just free. We have a pen, and we draw an ideogram. An ideogram is a representation of what what happens after you hear the number. Once we draw the ideogram, then in scientific remote viewing, there are a series of steps. So the first thing we touch it is the object hot, cold, warm. And then when you touch it, the information comes to you. It goes back to the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, being able to differentiate from the information. Because the subconscious mind, or the higher self, we can call it a lot of different things. knows everything you've ever done, ever will do, and are doing. Every information, anything that you want to know, God knows. The subconscious mind knows. So when you touch this ideogram that you drew on the page, and they ask you for the category hot, cold, whatever, you touch it, and oh, it's hot, because you're able to actually sense it. And in some cases, some of the remote viewers can actually see that the object is hot. Is it tall, short, wide? And you touch the wide object. And then you go on and on. Shape. Is it velocity? Is it burning? Is it moving? Is it slow? Is it, and you go down on and on with whatever the senses you get. And then once you get through with phase 1 and phase 2, which gives you all the descriptors of this particular object that you're remote viewing, then the third phase, now we want you to sketch 4 items that you think may be the target. So you'll start sketching, each one. And then when you're done, you show it to the instructor. And it's like, oh, wow. Okay. He still won't tell you the target. Okay, let's move to phase 4. Let's move to phase 5. We start to define what we've written more and more and more and more and more. And then at the end of the session, we do another sketch. And typically we're very, very close on what it is. That's what remote viewing is. Clients call me, Jason, I can't find my keys. Or Jason, can you tell me, I need to know what are my competitors doing better than we are? What are they using this particular device for? And I'll do my best to get as much information as possible, and then I'll go into a remote viewing session, and that's how I'll do it. Now, associate remote viewing is different from remote viewing. I was taught by the top psychic in Hawaii, David Wallace, on associate remote viewing, okay, ARV. And it is used for predicting future events. Okay, it's a little bit different from scientific remote viewing. The associate remote viewing allows you to predict future events. Harold Puthoff is one of the pioneers of remote viewing. Harold Puthoff was in the CIA program at the Stanford Research Center, SRV, and with Ingo Swann and all the things that the wonderful work that they did with the remote viewing program there at the Stanford Research Center. So Harold Puthoff developed a calculation, and it was a formula to grade a particular photo or picture. We were associating pictures with, a rating system, so that we could go yes or no. If you got more than 3.5, it would be an absolute yes. If you got under 3.5, it would be an absolute no. So you may say, okay, what does that mean, Jason? So we'll get 10 photos, put them in envelopes, photos that we've picked out, and put them in envelopes. And you shuffle the envelopes up. And let's just say I have a client that says, Jason, I'm going to Las Vegas, and I'm going to be staying at the Mirage Hotel. And I want to know which slot machine should I play that will yield me the most money? And I'll say, okay, well, go online and see if they have a layout of their casino floor. And if you can get that to me, then I'll do a remote viewing session and let you know, a social remote viewing. So I'll take these photos, 10 envelopes, Damla, and I'll look and I'll shuffle them up, and I'll pull one out, and I'll say, show me in this photo if the casino, if the slot machine that Mary is looking for will yield her winnings. And I'll put that one down, and I'll shuffle the other ones. Show me the picture in this photo if the slot machine that Mary is looking for will not yield her the winnings. Put that one down. Move all other pictures out the way, and then take those two, and then I'll have my sheet, and then I'll rub my fingers around the page, and then I'll come up with a sketch, on what I think is in one of these two photos. I'll do the sketch, and I'll open the first photo. And then there's a rating system on how close I was to the actual picture. And then the categories are, and get this, taste, touch, sound, topography, hot, I'm sorry, temp. So you'll rate each one based on the photo. Okay. Okay. You keep on rating it. And then you open up the other envelope and you do the same thing. You keep rating it. Well, with the numbers, whichever photo has the most numbers or closely matches the sketch, then you plug these numbers into this formula created by Harold Putoff. And when I tell you it's more than 70% hit rate, being a yes or no, you go through these formulas and you put them in, and sometimes you'll get 1.35 or 2.24. Well, that's under the 3.5 threshold. Sometimes you'll get 3.5, 3.7, then that's a yes. So you're able to use associated remote viewing in that way for stocks up or down. You're able to make sure you can be able to tell a person, yeah, this machine right here on this floor, yes, that's a yes. You're able to predict the outcome of any sporting event, or help a person. Should I get a divorce, or will I ever be in a better relationship with my daughter? So we use remote viewing that way. And that's pretty much how I learned how to do both of those modalities. But how can it help people? Just explain. You can get answers for anything you want in your life, and you can do that also with something they called with the pendulum. The pendulum gives you the yes or no answer as well. And there's another technique that I saw on YouTube. I believe it's called when your body rocks back and forth, you ask the questions. The sway technique, Damla, the
Yeah.
sway technique. So the sway technique is on YouTube as well. So there are a lot of different ways you can get the answer that you want with associated remote viewing. And remote viewing, obviously, you can use it to locate unknown objects or get information about objects that you want to know. In associated remote viewing, questions can be answered. And isn't it strange with quantum healing hypnosis, you can do the same thing with getting questions answered while the person is in a deep trance. But yes, that's pretty much remote viewing. And I write about that in the book, by the way.
Yes, we'll get to the book.
Yes.
It's fascinating. Thank you for explaining it in such detail. I appreciate that. It gives me a picture of how it might work for people.
One more thing, Damla.
Yeah.
The best remote viewers, and I've done 3 live shows, and I've had Tony Civilele come on, and I've had my audience, come on. I do the live shows on YouTube. The best remote viewers are who? Women. You want to know why women are the best remote viewers? And I said this earlier when we talked. Women accept their emotions. They are so connected with themselves much more than men. They're so much more emotional. They can feel emotions from other people and their own. That's the key to working in any spiritual modality, is love and accepting emotions when they come and when they go. Being able to do that so fluently, you are able to access the higher self much easier. And that's why a lot of the remote viewers that are out there, the more successful ones, women.
Interesting. So what this reminds me of is, you put it so beautifully, comparing the idea of especially the associate remote viewing for getting yes, no answers. By the way, you could do the same, just like you mentioned, with a pendulum, with muscle testing. You could do the same with tarot cards. What I have found in my practices, as I was beginning my healing practice, I actually did go to pendulums and muscle testing and all of those. But as I was working with them, I realized I already knew the answers.
Yes.
Before I checked in.
Yes.
So I do like that kind of like structured practices and modalities for people who are not quite sure that they can trust their bodies and they can trust that innate wisdom. And I do feel one thing you mentioned previously is the key, that idea of a daily meditative practice. the morning and the evening. You said you meditate. And I meditate as much as I can too, because I do feel that connection to yourself and to what I call the field um, is the key to beginning to develop that awareness of yourself and those like neurons, if you will, that reach out into the world for answers. What I'm also hearing is like it seems to me that you're someone who is interested in answers, and you tried a whole bunch of things to get to those answers. Can you tell us about your book and what it's about, and what kinds of things you've been trying?
Well, I set forth, a number of different objectives. I wanted to um, share with people my spiritual journey and the wisdom that I was picking up along the way. And, I wanted to sort of create a resource for people, something that people could use to, satisfy their curiosity, somewhat of a compass, just for people who were saying, you know what, I want to learn more. I want to be more. I want to venture out. I want to do more with what I'm feeling about, just my life. I'm stuck. I'm just not, you know, I'm there's something missing. So it takes you much further beyond what your normal boundaries of your life. It doesn't matter what religious practice you're dealing with, because it's not a religious book at all. And people want to they try to drag me into the religious thing. No, I'm not a pastor. I'm not any of that. I'm actually a Christian. I'm a Methodist. But I'm not writing about religion. I'm writing about the gifts that we possess. And in each one of these categories, Damla, psychedelics, remote viewing, meditation, breathing techniques. I have a section just on spirituality. We talk about astral projection. I have a section on that. The subconscious mind, or the higher self, or the lower self, whatever the term is, this version of you that inhabits your avatar. So I delve into the deeper, varied spiritual modalities out there, and I just I just want people to be drawn to what they're feeling inside, and how it can affect their life. And again, I'm just kind of recounting my explorations and all my insights in Empowered by Consciousness. It is a wonderful, and everybody says that, when you write your book, oh, it's a wonderful book. But no, I don't. This is what I was doing, Damla. I was buying a book on channeling. I read that. I bought a book. I bought Bob Monroe's book on out-of-body experiences. Okay, I got that. And I bought his other book on out-of-body experiences. Then I bought Dolores Cannon's book on quantum healing and all the different exploratory hypnosis sessions she did. And if you hadn't read her books, oh man, they are awesome. Then I bought Sarah Pavlin's book on the guidebook for astral projection. Then I bought this book for the 12 Archangels, and you get my drift. I've put them all in one book, each modality, and I've done the research, the history of it. I've done the research. I've then given you my personal experiences when I tested these modalities and what it did to me. And then I give you practical steps on how to achieve it, how to do it and how to practice it. Meditation is one of them as well. So, empowered by consciousness. And that's why we came up with the title, and, empowered by your consciousness. Damla, your consciousness is allowing you the bandwidth to be able to experience all of these different modalities. And the publishing company that I'm working with, pristinely, and one of the young ladies, Mara, when she came up with, the book was Expansion of Consciousness at first. She was like, no, you're not naming the book after your podcast. In no way. She said, but you're empowering people, Jason. What about empowered by your consciousness? And that's how we came up with the name.
That's beautiful. So it feels like it's like a guidebook of different
Yes.
modalities, different experiences that have been in your journey. And what I would tell people is it can be very valuable to just go dive into something like this, but with the intention of exactly what we were talking about, that awareness and knowing in your body, okay, I'm drawn to this chapter. Maybe this next chapter, next modality is not for me, but this one, like this is blinking at me. So knowing your response, your physical, emotional response, I think would add to the reading of such a book that delves into different modalities and gives you different options to explore. So I
Damla.
want to,
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Damla. I have a chapter on manifestation. And we all at one point either we're doing it ourselves, either we have a small group of people who follow us that'll join in with you, or we're doing it. Somebody else is telling us about their story. Okay, so we're always searching for these. Tamla, manifesting, and I'm not, because I know manifestation works. I had a group of 3 women. We did a 1-year show. A 1-year, not, I'm sorry, a 1-year book club. We got the book 369. I'm not sure if you saw that. We did a 1-year book club, and we manifested for 4 quarters. Each woman in this group, they really picked up on what they wanted and what they were trying to manifest. One of the quarters, we spent the whole quarter, just really, really diving into the book. And the next quarter, we started to deal with the 369 technique. The third quarter, we were in the water alchemy technique. The fourth quarter, we were doing subconscious letters, writing subconsciously, meaning that we were just writing letters basically to ourselves on things that we had already done, in our minds. Like, yeah, I own this, a chain of restaurants, and my employee came to me one day and wanted to raise. So we sat down and talked about. We were just writing subconsciously as if it was already done. So the manifestation chapter is just full of information on experiences that we had while using the 555, the 333, the 777 technique, the 369 technique, the water alchemy technique. So I don't want to give it away for the audience, but a practical guide to show you how, whatever resonates with you, just like you said, to show you how to do things that you may have just seen on YouTube or on a show. But yeah, it's really, really fun.
Beautiful. That actually ties wonderfully to where I was going at. I wanted to bring you back to, because you mentioned working with affirmations as an athlete. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that you work with professional athletes
Mm-hmm.
for mindset coaching. Can you give me examples of that? Because I work with mantras, which is another form of affirmations, but they're these there are seed sounds, and the name of my website and blog is a drop of Om to symbolize that the common vibration that we all have. But what kinds of affirmations do you still go back to, and what kinds of affirmations helped you back then? And what would you say to someone who's sort of going through this, discovering what methods they're drawn to or not? What kinds of affirmations would you recommend them?
Well, let's just break it down. A business person who's in sales, I meet with them and try to understand their sales quota or their sales objective, the strategies that they're using to get the particular client, and what sort of blockages or what's stopping you from making the sale. Yeah, it's just that everyone says that they love my information, but I wasn't explaining it well enough, but they could understand, and they just didn't think that that the other person did a better job than me. Okay, this is just an example, and so we were like, okay, well, and so I go through a series of questions. As coaches, we ask these smart questions, so to speak, to pinpoint where the blockage is, where the where the connection is not happening. What are you doing that's not exactly pleasing to people's ear. And once we figure out what that is, then we isolate it and we bring attention to it by having the client self-realize. If you can't get the client to self-realize, then you're done with trying to help them. And they're done with seeking the help because they can't see where the flaws are. But if you get the clients that, because Damla, every client you work with, not a good client for you. It has to be people who resonate with you. So you get them to self-realize. And once they can self-realize exactly what the issues are, we can build affirmations, we can build mantras, we can build manifestation techniques around the issue. And again, we'll use a 777 technique. 7 things that are wrong. We say them 7 times a day for 7 weeks. Very effective, by the way. We'll start to, and what you're doing is you're just like hypnosis. That's why all these modalities are closely aligned together. We are reprogramming, we're creating new neural pathways into the subconscious mind. We're seven issues, 7 times a day, 7 weeks. I will be pleasant and exude confidence during my sales presentation. I am a unique person for this sales job. I am one of the best salespeople in the city of Houston. I know that when I walk into the room, no one is more convincing and moving than I am. So you get my drift. We figure out exactly where the deficiencies are. We use some of the jargon that they're using to sell this product, and we move that into a affirmation script. Now, I record these affirmations for them. You see my mic right here. So I record the scripts for them, and that is for them to listen to at night. You go to sleep to it. Well, if I'm asleep, I can't hear it, Jason. Oh, yes, you can. That was proven by I don't want to say his name wrong. Jose, I forgot his name. He has several books out there on how to learn while you're sleeping. His name will come to me in a minute. But we hear the subconscious mind never sleeps. Your higher self, subconscious, it never sleeps. You can go to sleep and information can be playing, and that you will retain that information. So I give them these affirmations after I've finished, pulling out everything I need. And then we start to now use hypnosis to make suggestions. On a weekly basis, we'll have a session. We'll make these suggestions, more self-realization. And if it's a football player, again, I will be the best teammate. I am the best, basketball player on this team. At 25 feet, at 10 feet, when I turn around in the post, I always make the shot off the backboard. If it's a baseball player. When the ball is moving towards me, I can see the ball slow. And as I turn my hips, my bat always connects. I never steal a base if I'm not in the right position and we don't have a hit count that's favorable. Business person, today is the best day of my life. I love my team. I will not minimize people on this staff. I love working with anyone who has a great attitude. My attitude towards my team reflects the person I am running this business. So we have these affirmations that are tailored to different types of people, and we reinforce it with hypnosis and using smart questions to pull out this information from the client, helping them self-realize. But sometimes, Damla, there are blockages. You're just angry at somebody. You just can't get over your brother makes more money than you, or your best friend has a better car than you. And like, well, why is that a problem? It's not a problem, really. It's just he just talks a whole lot. I just don't like people who brag. So people who brag bother you. Well, it's just, you just shouldn't do that. So you start to see that that's more to that. And you dig and dig and dig. Sometimes you can't get them to self-realize. Then I use quantum healing hypnosis so I can get them into a deeper state, a deeper theta brainwave state, more moving them to the sambulistic state, which is where we work at, doing quantum healing hypnosis, and we can then bring the higher self out of the person and have a conversation with it on the person's behalf. And it's recorded and it's on videotape. And Damla, the effects of quantum healing hypnosis. And when you hear that tape, when the client hears that tape and they hear that voice, that crisp, intelligent, different voice than what they have, they have listed 10 or 15 questions that they want answered. And then I'm asking questions. Why is Damla jealous of her sister? Or why is Damla's sister always saying little things about her? The subconscious mind answers. The higher self answers in that session. And it is a beautiful thing. I'm one of thousands of practitioners that are out there that practice quantum healing. But also, I use this in the particular setting of what you're asking me on, how do I create these affirmations and what are they, how do they work with these people? What are some of these affirmations? I use this quantum healing hypnosis to do past life regression therapy as well. So I can figure out, where is the blockage? Which lifetime does it exist? And we go through a script of things. Once I get you off the cloud and you're now in a different lifetime, you're now and where are you? Oh, I'm just on the farm, hanging out, picking, whatever. Are you a woman or a man? I think I'm a woman. And then this is the script. This is how I go. The script. Are you tall or short? I'm tall. What color dress do you have on? I'm not wearing a dress. I'm wearing pants. That's a test for the client to see how deep they are in this somnambulistic state. Look at your feet. What are you wearing? And they'll tell you. Do you have hands? Yes, I have hands. Are you wearing any jewelry? We have to paint the scene. We're the director. We have to get them to keep talking and talking and talking, and it keeps them in this deep state. You ask all these questions. You're creating the background. You're creating everything so that you can figure out what's going on in this past life. And before you know it, you'll get to, are you married? No. It just seemed like a young lady like you would be married. Yeah, but he didn't really like me very much. Why didn't he like you? I don't know. Well, what was his name? His name was Bill. Is Bill there now? No, he's gone. He's been gone. Why is he gone? I just got tired of him hitting on me. Bingo. So I know you're saying, oh my God, Jason. Yes, Damla, this is what quantum healing hypnosis does. So now we know that there was abuse in the second lifetime when Mary was living on the farm in Kansas in 1958 or in 68 in one of her different past lives. So now we know why her anger and her frustration stops her from focusing on her sales tasks with different men that she's dealing with with her sales territory. Just have problem connecting with men. And because of one of her past lives, her husband was abusive to her. So when we bring them back, and then we bring the higher self back, we ask the higher self, can we remove this trauma from her past life when David was abusive to Anne? Yes. This is how they answer. Yes. The person that's removed, and we bring them out of it. And then all of a sudden, a few days later, they're healed from it. And now we can continue with the rebuilding of this person so that they can be all they can be in this sales or in this athletic situation or whatever they're doing. So that's how we, take the affirmations, and we didn't take it a step further using different techniques to clear blockages for the clients.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
know it's long-winded. I'm sorry, but I just want to get it all out.
No, you went deep with that. What that reminds me of is what I work with, which is inner child healing.
Oh yes, I love
And
it.
what we do there is call forth the potentials of inner children.
Mm.
And what I'm hearing you describe with the affirmations is that's what you're doing. You're pulling in the quantum healed potentials of people in. And as you that the role of the healer to me is, like you said, it's if it was as easy, everyone could do it. But as you're pulling those potentials in, there are certain things in the way, certain wounding that you need to tend to and heal and be with. And I do that in my own way. And it sounds to me like you do that in your own way. Which brings me, one of the things you say in your book is you say, just remember to be you and find your own way of doing this things. This to me sort of summarizes it, because I know I have the things that I'm drawn to, like astrology, tapping, crystal healing, this and that. And you have your own array of things. And we each need to, and some people are drawn to just one thing or two things, and that's fine too. We need to remember that one of the reasons I do this podcast is for people to get a taste for different healers and different methods out there, so they can see and feel into what might work for them. I would love to know what's next for you. What are you learning right now in your spiritual journey? What excites you? If you're like me, you're already learning the next thing. But also spiritually, like, what's the lesson you're being with right now? And what's next?
Well, right now for me, when you go out and you learn, like, EFT tapping and some of the other modalities you work in, one of them starts to resonate more. Even though you've experienced a lot of them, it starts to resonate more. And for me, what's next for me now is now the mindset coaching, just to focus on that using the modalities that I've learned. That's what the current passion is. It's just the helping people understand that it's your mindset. It's not your boss. It's not your husband. It's not your cousin. It's you. It's your mindset. And the quantum hypnosis is one of my main tools. So just the continuously learning learning how to expand one's consciousness using specific techniques with hypnosis, so that I can change the mindset for your business or for the goal or for this house you want to buy. In my spiritual walk, I'm more inclined to just continue to practice different levels of awareness, different levels of consciousness. And I've just scratched the surface. But and I want to say this earlier, and maybe you've experienced this, and I know I have. By doing all this work, at one point, I lost my connection with Source. And it was strange because I didn't feel like I was connecting with him, and I didn't know why. And it took my sister to tell me, because you're doing all this work for all these people, and you're reading and you're writing books and you're doing all this stuff and podcasts, you're not doing your daily connection with him. I was meditating, but I wasn't really connecting with him, Damla. It's a difference. And I thought about it. I'm like, I'm not doing some of the things I was originally taught by my spiritual teacher. I'm not grounding. I'm not, doing little things like, staring at the candle for 15 seconds at a time. Helps you open the third eye chakra. Just the little bitty things I was taught to keep my connection strong. I was doing the work, but my own personal connection was suffering because was just so many things I was trying to help other people with. So I found myself not really connected anymore. Took me about 3-4 weeks. maybe a month and a half to really establish my connection back. So that's one of the things as the audience is listening, and any other practitioners, if you've experienced losing your own connection because you were spread too thin doing a lot of different things, it's real, because I've experienced that as well. But I got it back, and now I can feel this information once again. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable with that, because it is important to keep our own practices and our own lights alive to be able to do this work. And it sounds to me you have a very wise guide in your sister. Is she your older sister?
She's my older sister. If you go on my podcast, she's in season 2 and season 1, in some parts of season 3. She's been my co-host sometimes. She's my spiritual partner, so to speak, guiding me on, some of her personal beliefs. I write about her in the book, Tereska. Write about her, my sister Jocelyn. I have 7 sisters, by the way, but
Okay.
my
A
sister
lot of
Jocelyn.
guys.
Yes. My sister Jocelyn was instrumental when I was a young boy in allowing the space. We need people in our families to allow this space for us to talk about these things. And half your family will totally think you're nuts. The other half, they just don't want to mess with you because whatever you're doing, it's whatever. And then there are a few that I know what you're going through. So my sister Jocelyn was one of those that knew. And my other sister, Tosca, was always there to help, me scale. Well, I know you're doing this, but how do you scale it? She's always business. But you need people. You don't need people, but you'd like to have people that are close to you to embrace. And Tereska always gave me that space to just say, hey, I'm feeling this, or hey, man, I left my body last night. Oh, you did? How was it? I was in the corner wall looking at myself. And then I remember in Dr. Monroe's book to give yourself mental instructions: move down, move through the door, and I used the rope technique to pull myself out the body. So I was explaining all the things that I was doing to get out the body and how I was navigating through my house, floating and going into different rooms. And she was like, that is true. That is. So when you get that confirmation from someone that you are very, very close with, that's important for them to hold that space for you. And that's why we hold that space for our clients, because no one else is listening to them. And as practitioners, we have to hold that space for them to just say what they want to say.
Mm. It sounds to me you already came in manifesting these different aspects of being held in your sisters. Like you were like, this lifetime, I want to be held this way. I want to be seen this way. So good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
So how can people find you, Jason? And I know you have 2 free hypnosis recordings for them to listen to. Where can they find those?
I have 2 free hypnosis recordings. You can find me at jasonmedlock.com. Go to the Empowered by Consciousness section. You can buy the book there if you want. I encourage you to, but at the bottom, I have some healing hypnosis. I have a crystalline river healing hypnosis, a beautiful healing hypnosis. Dolores Cannon, it was her version of it, and I recorded it. Beautiful healing. It goes through every chakra in your body, and it brings healing. And we use this hypnosis with clients, once we finish the actual session. And then I have a mindset hypnosis, a free audio for you guys. And also, if you're an athlete, then you can go to the sports hypnosis section. Under the section Work with Jason, there's a free audio there for athletes to get a sense of my voice, my cadence. JasonMedlock.com. If you want to follow me on any social medias, all of that stuff is there. You can click at the top of the page, but that's how you can find me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jason. This was such a fascinating chat. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, Damla. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to Conversations with Healers. If this episode spoke to you in any way, please leave a review or comment, like or love it, and share it with others in your life. This is a true soul love project from my heart to yours. I really appreciate your help in spreading the word. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and check out other episodes to listen to some extraordinary healing stories and advice. Have a beautiful and wonderful day.